Don't just give of yourself, sacrifice. It's pretty common within the church to hear the word sacrifice. We know about Jesus' sacrifice on the cross. We talk about that all the time, that He gave up His life for us. God, our Father in heaven, gave the greatest sacrifice in sending His only Son to take our place in death. We talk a lot about sacrifice within the church, but I don't think we often talk about sacrifices that we can make. Paul tells us in Philippians 2:3, "Do nothing from rivalry or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves." The only possible way we can do this is by sacrificing of ourselves, giving up some of our valued time, our valued possessions, our valued energy. That's what sacrifice is. I learned some things about sacrifice this past weekend as we invited some folks who were intimately involved in World War II to speak to our Sunday school class. We had 2 World War II veterans from the United States military. We had a woman who was born and raised in France, and in fact was in France during the German invasion. And we also had a German who was born in Romania and during the war had to make a trek on foot all the way from Romania to Austria. As these 4 individuals shared their story, what became very apparent was the level of sacrifice with which they were willing to submit themselves to. The U.S. military has always been a place where you see self-sacrifice. To join up with the military in and of itself is to sacrifice yourself for something that is bigger than yourself. To give of yourself for the nation, for your fellow citizens. That's a very valiant and valuable thing. And we certainly do take off our hats to all of our military men and women, past and present. Our gal from France shared with us a story. She also was forced to move during the German occupation. And she told horrifying stories about, as they made their way through France, some of the sights they saw. She was face to face with war. They were living wherever they could find shelter. They were eating whatever they could find. It's a time like we in America really have no concept. I don't think we've really ever been face to face with that kind of lack of the basic needs. Our German member, John, told a story of when he had to move from Romania to Austria. This, again, was during World War II. Now, he initially was called up to Army service, but it was switched at the last minute. The commander said, no, what's more important for you to do is not join the Army, but take care of this family whose husband and father just was enlisted in the Army. So John's job was to make sure that this family made it safely from Romania to Austria. In order to do this, he made sure that they were the ones riding in the wagon. He walked every step of the way. He was making sure that they were fed before he was. The class was very interesting because it's not something that my generation was grew up with. My parents were not folks who served in World War II. My grandparents, on the other hand, did, but I didn't get to hear that many stories. This is something that my generation and the generation after us, we just are not exposed with very often. So I was very thankful for the opportunity to hear from the members of our congregation. It intrigued me, the level of sacrifice that they were willing to submit to. And it got me thinking, this is something our society and culture is tremendously lacking. We are a me-first society, and it is to our detriment. We do not follow the advice of the apostle, do nothing from rivalry or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourself. Humility? What does that even mean? We have no concept. Counting others more significant than ourselves, that's not American anymore. We need to get back to it. We are hurting ourselves as a nation and culture. We are hurting ourselves as a church if we don't heed this advice. Sacrifice is all about serving others, counting others as more significant than ourselves. That's what Jesus was all about. He counted you more significant than himself, and so laid down his life for you. Are we willing to sacrifice of ourselves, give beyond what we're capable, so that somebody else can make it? I hope so. My prayer, and I hope you join me in this prayer, is that we get this back. Until next time, God's blessings to you and Christ's peace.